You're listening to What She Grows Through, a podcast dedicated to empower and uplift Black women to grow their self-worth. I'm your host, Chanel Amir, one of many dope Black women, creating a community for us to pour into and align with one another, uncovering our true feelings from sexuality to self-love, to begin growing through life and evolving into our best authentic selves. Let's get started. What's up, beautiful? It's your girl, Chanel Amir, and welcome back to another episode of the What She Grows Through podcast. How are you today? What's the vibe? Cool, I'm sending you so much love and warmth. Well, it's hot outside, so I'll say freshness and positive vibes your way. So we're in the midst of our self-care summer series, a time dedicated to nourishing ourselves and growing mindfully through life. And this season, we're creating space for our personal growth and shining a light more on the importance of self-care. And I'm heavy on this right now, taking my time as I grow through the ride of entrepreneurship, motherhood, and all the other things. But it's all about learning, though, expanding, and becoming who we are meant to be as we walk this beautiful, complex, challenging journey of life. So today, I have a special treat for you. I'm chatting with a beautiful mentee and friend who's had an inspiring journey of self-discovery that I've had the honor of watching unfold. So get comfortable, maybe grab your favorite journal, and let's just dive all the way into our episode of Discovering Your True Self, a tale of growth and reflection with Miss Passion. What's up, beautiful, and welcome back to another episode of the What She Grows Through podcast. I'm your host, Chanel Amir, and I'm just excited today because we are doing a self-care summer series. I thought that would be perfect for, the months of July and August, just designed for one mission to just promote mindful self-care, the self-care that we really need, and growth through the summer season. I mean, whether you're a Black woman, a mom, whatever, in different titles, we face unique challenges, and this series is just our safe space. Just navigate those challenges together and try to transform them into just opportunities for us to just continue growing, continue to understand ourselves. So that's the goal, just connecting. So today I have a special guest, a woman who definitely embodies resilience, lots of growth, and I see you've been incorporating them self-care practices also. So I'm just excited to dive into our conversation about, get all up in your business. A little different than what we normally do, but yeah, welcome, Miss Passion. Hey,
Miss
girl, hey.
Passion is perfect. Hey, girl, hey. How you doing? Thanks for having me. I was a little nervous, but I think this is going to be great.
Oh, yeah, because you already know I'd be nervous too, all the time. And I'll try to smoke a little bit and then get extra nervous just because I smoke. Then I'm like,
Yeah, it definitely makes you a little paranoid. Everybody gets sick.
right.
But no, I had me a good little morning breakfast. We're good to go.
There we go. All right. I'm just excited to get into it. Who are you? Who are you, Passion, in this moment? And how do you feel yourself expanding right now?
Ooh, Passion is an entrepreneur, a mentor, a student, a sister, an aunt, an auntie, and she is, in some cases, a teacher. Just trying to figure it out and find my place, honestly, in this world outside of just being an everyday employee, honestly.
Right. Okay. That's the thing. We get caught up in all the other things,
We do.
so we start labeling ourselves as that. Like, I'm an auntie, I'm a mom, or no, me, I'm a mom, I'm an auntie, I'm a teacher, but in terms of trying to peel back those different layers that are added, like who is passion though,
Oh,
before she's all of those things.
passion is figuring it out. I've started doing like more frequently Bible devotionals to kind of understand me because I've noticed as I've been going through this process of doing Bible devotionals and stuff. I'm going to go through the Bible app if you guys ever have questions, but I'm learning that I really don't genuinely know who I am as an individual or as a person. Because even in the sense of like going to college and stuff too, I always just found myself trying to like get in where I fit in or picking and pulling from certain things. It's like, okay, let me try to figure this out and do this or try this out. So I'm learning or relearning who passion is as I am in my adulthood. Because yeah, through all the journeys I've been through so far, I feel like it's got lost and kind of muddled with like actually who I am individually outside of like, oh, you look like your mom, or your brother and sister, you're their sister, or oh, you're this is your Kyrie's protein. Like out of the whole thing, I'm still trying to figure out like, oh yeah, because like even people now they're like, oh, you're Black Carolyn. I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, I'm still trying to figure out who I am in this now of me in this chapter.
Yeah. And I love that because, like, this is kind of a crucial part to your life. And I feel like a lot of people don't even, it takes them a while to even get to that moment. Like, people be 30, 40 plus still not knowing who they were or who they are because all of these labels, like, they get attached, and we start forgetting who we are because we got all these responsibilities and all these things that we got to do. We literally
Mhm.
forget. So you just saying that I'm figuring it out, I feel like everybody can resonate with this.
Yeah.
Figuring it out because even just to give our listeners a little backstory, me and Passion been rocking with each other for a little over a year,
Yeah.
just being each other's accountability partners and connecting and collabing at least once a week. We've been very consistent on that,
Yes.
but just growing together and seeing like where we can bounce ideas off of, and just seeing you grow. And it's a lot. So we're always starting it off like, oh, like just trying to figure it out, like
Yeah.
trying to all these different moving pieces, like is just so, it's difficult. But sometimes I think that's what we do a good job at, because we get this time to just take a breath and go over the things that we was able to do up until this point,
Yeah.
because
Completely
everything just gets
reflect.
lost, like, because we just trying to go to the next step. But our meetup is kind of us, all right, let's take a break, let's reflect.
Yeah.
So trying to figure it out is like the best thing that we can continue to do, and by doing that you learn so much more of yourself, and then you're aware that you're learning, so you're able to,
Hmm.
make so much use of that. That's so beneficial to know that I'm currently growing through some shit, you know
Yeah. That's what we're doing. Is growing through completely, like reflecting on where we may have failed short that previous week, or on what we may have needed to do, or life things that happen that we really have no control over. It keeps you grounded and a little less insane, to say
right,
the least.
right.
But it helps a lot, especially in the sense of having a life and running businesses or having a business overall and correcting or your business. It's a process that
Yeah.
unfortunately a lot of us had to do alone. That I'm grateful I have you because I don't really have to like trudge through it and just continue to just figure it out through failure and trial and error. I can have that additional air, additional guidance. Like, oh, girl, I did this before. Maybe see if this works for you, instead of me just like continuously failing, trying this, failing, trying this. Just okay, there's some guidance in this from your experience as a business owner. It's not really just having it to be in the same field or vicinity of what you're doing, but it's still as a person who has run business or in business, it's like this may help you in this sense without you having to like start a fire and watch it burn down.
Right, right. Definitely. So just in terms of like you mentioned like businesses, like just tell our listeners like a little bit about you and your business and your aspirations and all the things so that they can kind of, get to know you and where you're at on this entrepreneur journey while having a 9 to 5 as well, balancing those things.
Oh, the madness. So I am a fashion designer. I do custom
Ooh,
garments,
yeah.
including like birthday outfits, weddings, graduation outfits. I'm even doing like custom strolls for kindergartners. So I do that. And then I also have a clothing brand called Black Heroine, focused on women empowerment mostly. It used to be a unisex brand, but I realized I was trying to serve a niche that I wasn't really into or that really served me. So I'm adjusting currently in this process of reorganizing and rebranding my business to be what I want it to be instead of what everyone else has told me it should be. So
Mm,
it's focuses on women in corporate office businesses because in corporate jobs because I work a 9 to 5 in a corporate position. And there's not a lot of cute outfits for the younger girls. Like we're getting older, we still have that sense of fashion and that's but everything's kind of like gray and navy blue and beige and very structured. Like I still love the crisp cuts, but I still want us to still have that creative edge to us because I am a creative. I still want to show expression through my wardrobe whenever I can't like show my tattoos and stuff. I still want you to see like this is who I am as a person through how I express myself through clothing. And that's kind of what I
mm,
want to share with other women who are in corporate positions who feel as though they can't really express themselves through the drab of the clothing. So we're currently rebranding, re-envisioning, getting our stories and stuff together for how I want my brand to be received. And once I get that in order, my ultimate goal is to honestly start mentorship programs for young kids to teach them the basics of sewing and to teach them the
yeah.
basics of how to do how credit and stuff works and help you benefit in your careers but you're wanting to be an entrepreneur. So I just want to have that basics training for kids and teach them how to do certain things
Listen,
because
you
we did
just
not learn
got
that.
so the thing is your journey, like you can see so far down the road, like you're building like your
With intention, with purpose.
right. Right. So like and that's what I like about you because like we be doing the same thing, like, oh, and then I'm gonna be doing this, and then I'm like
Right.
just see it expanding into this like blooming tree. There's just so much. And that's why I'm saying the self-care part is so important because
Yes.
we as entrepreneurs, we as Black women, there's a lot of different things that are ingrained in us that we know that we're trying to unlearn in this moment. It don't
Hmm.
matter like what age we are, we're all going through it because now there's so much different levels of understanding on how
Yes.
we need to connect as Black women,
I love that you
so
said that, like unlearning certain things. I was reading in my Bible devotional, I'm gonna give you the name. It's called Believing Bigger. It's on the Bible app. But it said something that like resonated with me and I had to put it in my journal. It was like sometimes people give you advice based on experience or teachings based on their experience, and it's not always in goodwill. It's just because of what they went through.
mhm,
And I had to sit back and like, there are sometimes, like, even with our parents, that they teach us things that from their experience that honestly doesn't really improve us in a way, honestly hinders us because we're stuck in that mindset. Well, my mother told me this, and my mom's always right. And that's not the case. They're sharing with us advice from what they went through, even though
yeah,
we haven't experienced that. So it becomes very limiting in what we start to experience and learn as we're embarking on these journeys of entrepreneurship and personal growth as parents, as aunties, as friends. It's something that I think no one really acknowledges as much. It's like when people give you advice, they're giving you genuine advice to help you, or just giving you advice based on what they've been through and what hurt them,
mm, right,
because
like their
that's just,
perspective
yeah,
on
they're
it,
only their perspective, not just to help you, but just be say, oh, I went through this and this is what you should be doing. It's never just like a genuine thing. I'm like, those are some teachings I never really reflected on until I got to this point of trying to understand me as an individual, because it's like, dang, we've gotten advice from lots of people, especially as children growing up. You get advice from aunties, uncles, grandparents, and you just assume like, yeah, they're right. Like they're my
right.
elders, they're my parents, they're right. But it's like they're not always right. And no matter how great they raised us to be, these people, we still have to figure a lot of things out on our own and not really stick solely to what our teachings were as children.
Right.
Like,
Because we're
gee,
like the first generation
yeah.
of 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 this freedom that we have, of this resource. Our parents didn't have the resources that we have. Mental
Hmm.
health wasn't a thing. They had this
Yes.
notion of, what, just bottling things up,
What happens in the
some
house, stay in my
sometimes,
house.
yeah, being afraid of even saying certain things. We got the whole
Hmm.
situation with black mothers and daughters can feeling like they're in competition with each other. So it's a lot of things, and I resonate with that too, because my mom, she was raised a different way than what we
Right.
were raised and what we're aware of now. And I think that's where, I think we were talking about that before, where it's like you got certain people and they only can understand you from their perspective, one,
Yes, we
but
were.
then like from the wherever they fit into your life. Like, okay, these are my family members. This is my mom, but
Hmm.
she doesn't understand how my friends will see me. But my friends will not understand how it is to be an entrepreneur. So I need entrepreneur friends because only they're going to
Yep.
understand. Oh, an entrepreneur trying to talk to, like, your mom who struggled with even having the courage of speaking out. They
Stepping
can't
out on faith.
imagine themselves doing that. So when they see you and like, you're telling them all of these big things that's well above their head. We on like different levels. They can't comprehend that. So they try to project their limiting beliefs onto you. Like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, that's too much. You're doing too much. Or
Yep.
why are you, like, and
And
now,
people have to understand like that those words have power. It like especially to someone young trying to really figure it out and get on their own. It's very discouraging to just not even the slightest things can support somebody. You don't even have to believe in it. You don't got to see it
right,
because you're not always going to see what I'm going to see for myself and my business.
right.
But just you got this, or keep going, or it's sometimes there's a storm before you get to your goal. A small thing can
Or
go a long
even
way
just
rather than these things.
listening.
Even listening, they don't do that. It's always, oh no, I know better. This is why we have 9 to 5s. 9 to 5s are not good for your health because y'all seen what happened to the Titanic man. He didn't die in that submarine, and his job was posted the next day, or not even the next day.
Right.
Like they're not going to care for you like you're going to kill for yourself and for your own business. Like that's 9 to 5 mindset is not good for me.
And I think that's where the mindset thing is, on you, us being mindful of like where they're at in their capacity, like, of
Hmm.
where they're at, because our journeys are all different. So like I understand you as my mother knowing, okay, that is, and yeah, it does hurt, because even some of the stuff that like I still take with me, but then I gotta like
Hmm.
maneuver that around and make it make sense, because yeah, I'm surpassing anything. People can't understand, what I'm doing in terms of this particular thing. And I think that's where we need to continue to shine light on and talk about our stories and stuff. And that's where, the connection happens, because we realize like a lot of our situations are
Or
similar, our
similar.
lessons
Hmm.
are similar. They're different, but they're all similar. They all have like different connections,
That's why I love the
so
What She Go Through podcast because like it's
uh,
like you'll hear something from someone else like, dang, I thought it was just me. I didn't even know other people felt this way. I thought I was just self-sabotaging, or I felt like I couldn't, like I was upper limiting, or I was fear of success. I thought it was just me. I didn't think it was something everybody else went through. Like it's nice to hear that even in this sense that you are not alone and
mm,
that someone else understands like how you felt in that moment, even though it wasn't the same situation. It definitely is like reassuring, like, okay, she did this, so I can definitely overcome this in my own journey.
right. And I think those are the challenges that, like I'm saying, this word courage, having the courage to just tell our stories and tell it like it is, not sugarcoating nothing, and really
Hmm.
feeling safe enough to share your story. And then it's like a big weight has been lifted off of you, because we take on so much being a strong black woman, that we're realizing we don't have to be strong all the time. We can
You
show
don't. It's a
like
role that was forced on
vulnerability
us.
and be soft and take things in and be emotional. All of that is okay. So when us doing that, I feel like we're starting to take more care of our mental health. So that's self-care and finding different ways to cope, finding different ways to connect. And I think
Hmm.
that's a big thing.
And boundaries also, having like sticking to your boundaries and enforcing those with people, even those that you love. Because I know in the Black community, there's always a big question on boundaries and parents respecting those boundaries. Even as teenagers and into your adulthood, it's always like, I'm still your mother. And that's
Mhm.
their, or I'm still your father. It's always their favorite sayings, like, no matter how old you get, I'll always be your elder. And that's, we understand, but I am still a human being. I still have feelings and I have things that I do not accept.
Mm.
And I think as a community, that's something we still have to touch
Oh,
on as a whole.
and way better at that, because I already know, like, if auntie got an attitude, I said what I needed to say respectfully. My grandma, like, I mean, grandma just might can't see her for a little bit,
That's
once she
all.
calmed down, like, she'll be all right.
That's a,
But like, I was clear on the things that I'm doing, because things
and that's all that matters. It's just like having
respect.
a hard time accepting, like, it's not disrespect.
Right.
It's just I'm not agreeing with your point. And I think
Exactly.
that's something that they struggle with. It's like it's not because they think how they can talk however they want a lot of the times, but it's not disrespect. It's just I'm expressing to you how I genuinely feel, and it's not agreeing with how
Mm.
you felt or how you feel. So I should be responding to you. That's all. That's
Yeah.
just something that's a lot of people still have to work on and grow with, even with your like, especially for your self care and mental health, because that's a big part of taking care of yourself. A lot of the times, like right now, our generation, it's mostly like suicidals or death through depression or stress and anxiety.
Mm.
So this is key to having to make sure that you are putting yourself first in every aspect of life. Even if that 9 to 5 is like asking you for that overtime and stuff, even if your job you feel like you're not doing enough, sometimes what you have done is enough. You still need to take a step back and just get yourself together, because we all can't die from burnout. That can't be the cause of us trying to succeed and us just ultimately burning out before we get to see the actual success from what we've put in already.
Right. And they were saying, like, I don't know if it was like in terms of like the race part, but they were saying like the median age, like life, like of living life has been like it's been dropping. It was like,
Wasn't like 30 something.
yeah, like that's the median.
I was like,
Like, so
that
a lot
doesn't
of
even seem
people is
right.
not even we're not even able to live long ages because like we're so stressed and everything is so bottled up, like we can't, like it's just it's time to do something different.
It
And I think the
is.
pandemic helped with that because it finally we were finally able to we had to sit down somewhere,
Right. You had no
like
choice
when we
but
had to
to.
recalculate and figure it out. And that's when we realized, like, this a lot of us really, I enjoyed being able to chill,
Yeah.
like, and take a break and figure out what do I really want to do, because I can't, like, that's where you felt so disposable in terms of what was it, what did they call it, essential workers or something
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
because everyone was like locked out, and only essential workers were able to do their day to days at their job.
Yeah, and then some of those, like, with the risk and stuff, and then just trying to get
Hmm.
somebody else, like, I think, yeah, it's wild.
It was a blessing and a curse, but it's definitely. I think it did give everyone that time to really reflect on, yeah, yeah, this isn't for me, or this
Mm.
job doesn't care about much. 'Cause I even was reading stories of people being nurses, and they're like, she had COVID or something, and her boss was like, "Well, you can work the COVID unit because you're already sick." Like, just disregard my entire life
Right.
for
So
this
now it's
job.
up to us to, begin looking after ourselves and taking care of
Hmm.
ourselves and black women in general. So in terms of, self-care and taking that time for yourself, can you share some of your personal wins that you've been growing through and how you were able to incorporate some self-care practices that were able to help you through those things,
Oh,
if any?
depression. Depression is one of my biggest things that I've been growing through. That's kind of what got me into doing like the Bible devotionals and those monthly manifestations, like that 369 manifestation stuff. Because you get discouraged, and when things don't go well, like my mom always told me, she taught us how to um, react to wins, but never how to react to losses. And in that sense, she's right. Whenever I get a loss, whether it's a minor one or something at a huge magnitude, I take it very deeply, and it puts me into like a state of questioning my abilities in a state of depression. So what I've been practicing is I'll journal more instead of me just soaking into something. I'll write something down, or I'll do my Bible devotionals and ask questions to God directly with certain things. Before, I used to feel like if I asked questions, I didn't trust Him, but really it's just for my understanding. So now I know that, and that's been helping me deal with my depression. My manifestation journals, I've do it in the morning when I'm getting up, because that's when I feel my most rested and well self, to prepare myself for that day. For if those things do happen, I know what my goals and where my desires are to be, so I can move through my day with those intentions and know that these failures, if I do have any, are just lessons to prepare me for the journey that I have to come. And then my self care, I always, and every week I do something minor, whether it's just removing the nail polish off my fingernails, or just plucking my eyebrows, or just shaving your legs, or washing my hair. I try to add something in there that I find relaxing for me, or like even just doodling or playing a game for like an hour, so that I can find my own escape in, after working my 9 to 5 or jumping right into my business stuff. I have a moment to relax and be at peace. And then one thing I do love is candles. I invest in lots of candles. Right now, I'm rocking with the eucalyptus mint, but it's just something about having a set scent that puts you in a moment of relaxation while doing those things, just sets the mood for like, okay, I'm good here. I'm in my safe space. I'm okay. And then sometimes you relax. Sometimes you bust out in tears. Sometimes you just might have a little fit, but it's something that is needed. So I have that moment to express how I'm feeling before I jump into something else and continue to burn myself out or overwork myself, because I feel like I'm not doing enough or I'm not trying hard enough. And just, it gives me that reassurance like, okay, you're human. Like, you cannot do all things for these 24 hours in your day. No matter how early you wake up, no matter how late you try to stay up and go to sleep, you are still a human. You still have to take care of yourself. So I've been doing those frequently. I have my little planner. I put it in there in the beginning of the week on Sundays, so I can know what I'm going to do for myself that week as my self care. Because I don't, or even just going to the movies if that's something that you enjoy to do. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've been personal caring a lot
Yeah, and
recently.
that's why I asked you, because that is one thing that I noticed that you continuing to do each week, whether it's doing your journal and your Bible devotionals, or like, just sharing your wins, or just some of the lessons that we learn. Like,
Oh
all of
yeah.
those things are needed. Even when you're talking about the candles, yes, because it sets the mood. Like, that can be like a
Hmm.
really good part of your self-care routine, depending on like what the smell is. I know I like
Right.
real earthy, like warm smells, and I love those at night, because like I feel all cozy and warm and I want to
Hmm.
relax. And that's when what's needed is taking that time to, the candle, just sitting in silence, and then letting
Yes.
your mind do what it wants to do. And like you're saying, like sometimes I might spaz a little bit, sometimes I might cry, sometimes I'm anxious, or whatever it is. Let me just write it down, or let me just sit with these things
Yeah.
and having a moment with myself, and allowing certain things to flow past me is cool if they're there. But the things that is not going to really benefit me right now, being aware that it's cool that they're here, but like you can
Hmm.
keep on passing, because I'm choosing to pick the ones that I need best, like in this moment, that's going to help me to get through.
I
You
think
know,
that's where a lot of people miss, is that they don't understand that some people are just here for a passing, or even some experiences are just here for a passing. And because of like fear of moving on or not knowing the next destination, we kind of hold on to a lot of things, because we want to always be prepared for the next step. And that's
hmm
never ever going to be the case in anyone's life. It's always going to be like, okay, it's just going to be what it is. Some things you just can't change. And I think a lot of people have to understand, like, as much as we will plan for those next steps and that next journey, we will genuinely not know what is going to come upon us in that moment.
right.
So kind of just accept and roll with the punches, but still move with your ideal purpose, to know exactly why you're doing what you're doing. So you don't get lost in those moments or careers or people in passing. Because sometimes it's great and sometimes it feels really great. And you don't want to let go of that really great feeling for that time of passing because you don't know what's to come next.
Right. Wow.
Mhm.
Deep.
Girl, life lessons, they just,
Right. And the thing
uh,
is, you've been learning them like early. Like I tell you that all the time. Like I just started like really being kind of woke like a couple years ago. I think once I actually decided to start this entrepreneur journey, I think that's when just things just changed for me, because
Mhm.
I was definitely in survival mode. But then you got to realize, like, all right, how can I start thriving in this? Because this, I cannot just, it can't
Yes.
be like this. Like, how can I grow
Mhm.
from this? How can I take different lessons and, realize that the fear part is always going to be there. That's us as just humans. Like, we
Mhm.
feel like we got to get rid of fear, but you can never get rid of fear. That's one of the emotions that you're going to have. But how can you take that and position it in a way that's beneficial for you? And not get stuck with that feeling, because sometimes
Mhm.
most of the time, it's trying to tell you something else. Like, you're scared about certain things, like maybe, like, the things that we be doing in terms of like just accomplishing different goals. Like, I finally got my website off the ground, but the
Mhm.
fear of success, the fear of being seen, the fear of, like you're saying, the fear of failure, like just a lot of different things, we can get caught up in that. But realizing, the other side of that is, I finally faced it. I finally got to this point, and it feels nice. It's like a pendulum. If you going hard as hell like this way, you're gonna come back to
Yeah.
something
Atomic habits. That's exactly what it
for
is.
wow.
You
Like,
start feeling those accomplishments and your habits, and it becomes something like, why did I wait so long to do this?
Like,
Like,
what
I
was
could
I
have
doing
been, what was
before?
I
Like,
scared
what?
of? Like,
Exactly. Like, you a scary little like, that's what I be.
like, girl, you was over here over exaggerating everything, being dramatic. When you could have just jumped into it and was like, oh, yeah, I got this. I've done this before. I'm good.
Right. And it's not like that all the time though. Like, there's gonna be moments
True.
where, oh my goodness, that was really a lot. Sometimes you're gonna feel so happy. Sometimes you're gonna still feel
Draining.
sad that you
Mm-hmm.
had to make certain pivots and stuff along your journey.
Yes, indeed. And then you're still going to sit and reflect on those pivots like, dang.
Exactly. As long as you make sure that you make that time for reflection, where you were resilient, that, like, this word resilient, I realized, like, dang, I was resilient all this time. Like, and this wasn't a part of my vocabulary. Like, that's what
Mm-hmm.
it was. Okay, well, I like that word. So, like, us really striving and pushing past like certain things, like, I can be resilient rather than having this strong persona attached to me.
Yeah.
So,
That's me figuring out my word. I know right now my go to is persistence
mm,
because I was trying to be consistent. I'm honestly, that was like, yeah, I have to be consistent. It's all about consistency. But honestly, I have a lot of obstacles, so I can't really be consistent. So I'm like, I'm gonna be persistent. I'm still gonna push through regardless of what is coming at me, so I can still make sure I'm getting to where I need to be.
mhm.
So it's on my little board in front of me. It's pressure, persistence, perseverance, and prayer. And
Mm,
I've been working on my 4 P's because I have to make sure like I'm holding myself accountable as well. I can't just be like only allowing you to hold me accountable also. But it's still like it comes full circle in
right.
every aspect.
And then you see how much those little steps that you were doing, when you look back and you see how far in between that you were, like,
Hmm.
I think that's where that self actualization, it's always hard for me to say that word, but I think that's where we're striving to. And like, when you get a little piece of that, wow,
Hmm.
now that becomes the goal.
It's
So it's deep, and it's really, and it's nice that we get to do that, and just being able to create a space of like sharing these moments, our experiences and insights, and like what we've been doing, what self-care practices we've been doing. Right now
hmm.
for me is definitely journaling. I have this June journey that I've been doing with my community over on Instagram, where each day it is incorporating a different journal prompt for self-discovery, for empowering yourself and really getting to know, yourself. So like, each day you have a journal prompt, and I've been
Yeah.
doing those things. Like, I might not been able to like really share them on social media of how like I
Right.
wanted to, but the thing is, I've been incorporating those, and even just seeing some of the women take a part of that and tagging me, and just whatever those things, like, I realize we really trying to grow. grow out here,
Yes.
like, so in terms of just what she grows through, I definitely want to get your take on what she grows through and what that means to you and how you feel it aligns with you just being a Black woman.
Ooh. Honestly, it comes for me, it's mostly understanding. I think a lot of the time from what the things I've been through in the past, I know I'm young, but like we've been through some things over here. But it's mostly just like understanding why I've went through those things and constantly reflecting back to those instances and situations where I made selfish decisions or I made decisions based on someone else's perspective. I'm trying to understand to grow from where I was in those situations so that way I can understand the lesson that I was being given in that moment. Because a lot of the times, what did my mom always tell me? She said, "You repeat, God will constantly put you in a place of repeating a lesson until you understand the actual message that He's
Mhm.
trying to teach you."
Right.
And a lot of the time, I felt like I was going through the same things repeatedly and still not understanding the lesson. So I'm still like in my moment of growth and understanding. I'm still trying to figure out why those lessons kept occurring. I'm still trying to figure out what lessons I was supposed to understand in those moments because now I'm at this point to understanding and growing into my adult self. I'm reflecting a lot on past situations and even current situations because I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to correct communications. I'm trying to correct my actions, my tones. When I communicate with people, like it's more than just what you're going through, is what you're putting other people through as well because of
Mm,
those situations.
because we're all connected.
Yeah. And
Like,
you don't realize how much what you do to other people as well is a reflect on what you've been through and what you're
mm,
putting them through also. So I now find myself apologizing and correcting myself, even to my nephew. He just turned 2. When I feel like I was wrong for yelling at him for something because he's 2. He's still learning. I'm just like, Auntie, sorry. I apologize. And I hope he understands because I don't have kids myself. So I'm learning. But I find myself apologizing to my sister when I'm wrong. And my tone is just not acceptable because it's something that I didn't understand or interpret the right way. So it's correcting the things that you felt were right in that moment and not reacting immediately. It's just trying to understand so you don't put someone else in the situation or that path that you were in before. So you can grow and allow them to grow without that pressure or that your reflection being projected onto them.
mhm.
I'm figuring out. But I think that's like the journey that I'm on as she's for what she's growing through is just understanding, sharing, expressing, and taking accountability for my wrongdoings as well.
Yes. That is growth, all of that, like in different areas of your life, and being able to document your growth is pretty dope. Pretty dope that you're doing it. Even in the times like when we're actually in it is not always easy. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we get caught up in it. I think just continuing to take that moment for ourselves, take that moment to help encourage someone else, like even by just sharing our own journeys, our own
Mm-hmm.
stories, or just trying to reflect that onto other people, because some people, they're only as limited as their surroundings, the people around them. Some people
Mm-hmm.
growth is stunning for real,
Yes,
you
that's why
know
it's like great to branch out on your own, to explore on your own, to travel. That's a limitation in themselves. Like they're so used to what it has been and what they've been taught that they're not going to give you what you actually need to grow and to be better. So it's always good to seek or look out into other, not even seek to look into find other places and outlets or people who you may feel would be more nurturing to you into your next path of your growth.
right, right. Wow. Right. So a lot of growing, and you've been doing a lot of growing. I can contest to that. We both been doing a damn thing, and just excited about this. We've been doing so much and working so hard like this first half, and
Hmm.
taking those times to reflect and seeing like how far we've come, all our personal wins that we were able to get through, just remaining and staying focused on the goals
Yes.
that we said we wanted, and not steering away and getting like distracted. That's a big thing, and just being able to gather certain things in our toolbox that we need to continue to like keep ourselves full and knowing when that we need to get
Mhm.
like poured into, maybe
Yes.
knowing when to pour to other people. All of this connects, knowing that our decisions is a cause and effect. Like
Yeah, I was saying
that's what I'm saying. Like not a consequence.
no, it's like
Well,
a
how
trickle
you
effect. I don't know the
yeah,
word for it.
whatever you
Yeah.
choose, like there's gonna be an effect off of that. And like your best thing is to your best bet is just to continue to focus on what's going to be the best choice that you can make in that moment.
Mhm.
And if it was a wrong choice, there's nothing wrong. That was a choice that you needed to make in order to get the lesson from that. Now are you going to take that lesson and make a different choice, make a
Mhm.
better choice, so that you can continue to grow, and there's going to be just different gems that comes from like the decisions that you make. That nothing's ever wrong. It's always, this is how your journey is supposed to match up. All these steps,
Mhm.
all of them is parts of your story. And it might
And
just
what
be a
you were
couple
supposed
chapters
to
that you would stumble in, but then like you're getting to the next chapter, you're getting to the next level, you're continuing to build like stronger branches, stronger, like it can just continue to be deep if you let it, and realize how great, like practice gratitude, realize how far you've come. The moments where you were able to be resilient and move forward, the moments that you got through some self-limiting beliefs,
do.
being able to surround yourself with different people who can bring that out of you, like different perspectives of that. It just continues. It's ever growing, you know.
Yes, indeed. And to remember to trim those branches that are only supposed to be there for this season.
Right. Exactly. Right. Yeah,
Because
that's a good one.
we tend to forget. We tend to
Right.
forget.
So how can our listeners just learn more about you? How can they connect with you and, your fashion designer skills and your content and just all the things? How can we get all up in your business?
um, all my personal social medias are under Ayona J, and that's AYONAHJAE. That's on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I'm usually on there occasionally for marketing purposes, but you'll get to see all my creative designs, all my behind the scenes of sewing, and also be able to connect with me directly. And if you're interested in sewing or just learning educational backgrounds, because I have been to school for fashion design, you can definitely just reach out. I'm a friendly person. It might not be immediately because I do have a 9 to 5, but yeah, you can reach me there. And if you ever want to collab, I am a local in Pittsburgh, so I'm always down for meeting new creatives and doing different things as far as creating different outlets or just participating on panels. I'm down for the cause.
There you go. Thank you. So just thank you
Thank
for your
you.
conversation. Like it was nice to like take a break from the things that we've been working on and just literally just going right into like what we really been feeling, like sharing some of the experiences that we are, mindful enough to learn from and grow from. So
Mhm.
as we wrap up, I just want to express my gratitude for everyone listening and just it means a lot, everything. Like summer is the time of growth, it's the time of reflection. Even though it's hot, we got to figure it
Mhm.
out. That just means that we need more water, we need more nourishments to continue to to flourish. We need more for the summer so that we don't get crimply.
Yeah, keep the coconut water on hand.
Yes, yes. Even as Black women, like we gotta just nourish our bodies like more. We need more. So as we navigate through this season, let's just continue to prioritize this word called self-care. We gotta continue to uplift each other and create safe spaces of just empowering ourselves and our community, figuring out how we can do those things, that making connections, sharing our stories. I just look forward to our growth and just continuing to reflect and make these connections, during this summer. I'm just I'm excited. I'm excited. So yeah,
I
thank
can't wait. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
you.
I was happy to have you.
All right. And there you have it, beautiful. I hope that our conversation today has left you feeling inspired, empowered, and ready to take on your own journey of growth. My hope is that you've been able to grab a few gems to carry with you on your journey. And remember, we're all about becoming, evolving, and growing through life as Black women. If you enjoyed today's show, please do us a favor by rating and reviewing the show. It helps other co-journeyers like you find us and connect with this empowering community. Life is a series of ups and downs, both beautiful and scary, yet with a growth mindset, we can live this heaven on earth, savoring those little moments of joy and learning from the challenging ones. For more information and resources, head over to our website at whatSheGrowsThrough.com. You can join our journey, sign up for our newsletter, and even reach out if you'd like to share your story on our show. Also, don't forget to connect with us on our social media pages to stay up to date with our latest episodes and tips for personal growth and all the things. And just remember that you're not alone on this journey. We're all growing together. So I look forward to talking with you again. Until then.